At the Christmas party, while everyone was happily exchanging gifts, my father secretly sold my house to pay off my irresponsible sister's debts. When I stepped into the living room, they stood by the Christmas tree, sneering, "Now you've lost your house." I just smiled. "What's so funny?" they snapped. I said, "The house you sold is actually." I still remember the smell of pine needles and cinnamon that filled the air that Christmas Eve. Everyone was laughing, drinking eggnog, exchanging wrapped boxes under the massive tree in my parents' living room. I had no idea my entire life was about to collapse. My father stood by the fireplace, his arm around my sister Monica. She was smiling that smile. The one she'd perfected since childhood. The one that said she'd gotten away with something. And she had. I walked into the living room holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate, ready to toast another family Christmas. That's when I saw their faces. My father's eyes met mine, and there was something cold there. Something I'd never seen before. Monica's smile grew wider. "Merry Christmas, Sarah," my father said, his voice flat. That's when my mother appeared from the kitchen, her expression unreadable. The room suddenly felt too small. Too quiet. Even though music was playing and my aunts were chattering in the corner. "We need to talk to you," my father continued. I set down the mugs. My hands were already shaking. You know that feeling when your body knows something is wrong before your brain catches up? That's what this was. "Dad, what's going on?" Monica stepped forward, and I swear I saw triumph in her eyes. "Sarah, there's been a change. With your house." My house. The 3-bedroom craftsman on Maple Street that I'd bought 5 years ago. The one I'd saved for since I was 23, working double shifts at the hospital. The home I'd painted and furnished and poured my heart into. "What about my house?" My father cleared his throat. "I sold it." The words didn't make sense at first. They just hung there in the air, like ornaments on the tree. Pretty. Meaningless. "You." "What?" "I sold your house, Sarah. 3 days ago. The papers went through this morning." The room tilted. I grabbed the back of the couch to steady myself. "That's impossible. You can't sell my house. It's mine. My name is on the deed." Monica laughed. Actually laughed. "Not anymore, it isn't." My mother finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "Sarah, sweetie, maybe you should sit down." "I don't want to sit down." My voice cracked. "Someone explain to me how my father sold a house he doesn't own." That's when my father pulled out a folder. Thick. Legal looking. He handed it to me like he was passing me a dinner menu. "Remember when you were buying the house? You asked me to help with the paperwork because you were working those overnight shifts?" I did remember. I'd been so exhausted back then, pulling 60-hour weeks to save for the down payment. My father had offered to handle the closing documents. Said it would take the stress off me. I handled the paperwork, Sarah. I made sure my name was on the deed. As co-owner. The folder slipped from my hands. Papers scattered across the hardwood floor like snow. You put your name on my house? Without telling me?" "I wanted to protect you," he said, but his eyes were hard. "You were young. Inexperienced. I thought it was the responsible thing to do." "Protect me?" I could barely breathe. "By stealing my house?" "I didn't steal anything," my father snapped. "I sold an asset that I legally co-owned. And I used the money for something important." That's when it clicked. I looked at Monica. At her new designer purse sitting on the chair. At the expensive watch on her wrist. At the keys to a brand new Mercedes I'd seen in the driveway. "You gave the money to Monica." My sister's smile never wavered. "Dad helped me pay off some debts. It's what family does." "Some debts?" I felt hysteria rising in my throat. "What debts?" My father sighed like I was being difficult. Like I was the problem here. "Monica made some poor financial decisions. She's been struggling." "Struggling?" I turned to my sister. "You've been posting pictures from Cabo on Instagram. You just bought a new car." "Those were business expenses," Monica said smoothly. "For my influencer career." "Your influencer career?" I wanted to scream. "You have 1,200 followers. It's a growing market," my father defended. "Monica is investing in her future." "By stealing my present?" My mother touched my arm. "Sarah, please. You're being dramatic. It's just a house." "Just a house." Those 3 words broke something inside me. "Just a house?" I yanked my arm away. "Mom, I worked for 5 years to buy that house. I saved every penny. I ate ramen for months. I skipped vacations. I drove a car that was held together with duct tape and prayer. That house was everything to me. And now Monica needs it more, my father said simply. She's your sister. Family takes care of family. Then why didn't family take care of me? The question hung in the air. No one answered. Monica walked to the Christmas tree, picking up a wrapped box. We got you something, actually. Merry Christmas. She handed me the gift. I didn't want to take it, but my hands moved automatically. Muscle memory from years of family Christmases. I tore off the wrapping paper. Inside was a coffee mug. It said "World's Okayest Daughter." Monica laughed. It's a joke. You know, because you're always so serious. I looked at that mug. At my father's indifferent expression. At my mother's averted eyes. At Monica's triumphant smile. And something inside me died. Where am I supposed to live? My voice came out small. Broken. My father shrugged. You'll figure it out. You're resourceful. That's what you're always telling us, isn't it? How independent you are. I have a week until the new owners take possession, he continued. That should be enough time to find an apartment. A week? Dad, it's Christmas. Then you better start looking now instead of making a scene. I stood there, surrounded by my family, by twinkling lights and wrapped presents and the smell of gingerbread. And I realized something. I was completely alone. Sarah, say something, my mother whispered. I smiled. It felt strange on my face. Foreign. But I smiled. What's so funny? Monica snapped. This isn't funny. Oh, it's hilarious, I said, and my voice sounded different. Colder. It's absolutely hilarious. My father's eyes narrowed. Sarah, if you're planning on making trouble. Trouble? I laughed. A real laugh this time. No, Dad. No trouble. I'm just thinking about how funny this all is. How is any of this funny? My mother looked worried now. I picked up the coffee mug. Turned it over in my hands. The house you sold. The one on Maple Street. The 3-bedroom craftsman with the blue shutters. Yes, my father said impatiently. We know which house, Sarah. That house, I continued, my smile growing wider, is actually owned by a trust. The Sarah Mitchell Irrevocable Trust, to be specific. The room went silent. The deed you signed, I said softly, wasn't for the house on Maple Street. It was for a vacant lot. In Wyoming. That I bought for $500 specifically for this purpose. My father's face went pale. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that I knew, Dad. I've known for 3 years that you put your name on my deed without my permission. Monica's smile finally faltered. That's impossible. Is it? Remember when I asked you to water my plants while I was on that nursing conference in Seattle? I came home a day early. Found you in my office, going through my filing cabinet. You took photos of my documents with your phone. My sister's face flushed red. I was just... You were looking for something to use against me, I interrupted. You've always been jealous. Always wanted what I had. And you're not subtle, Monica. You bragged to Mom about it. She told me everything. I looked at my mother. She couldn't meet my eyes. So I set a trap, I continued. I knew you'd tell Dad about the house. About the deed. I knew he'd try to use it eventually. And I knew Monica would push him to do it when her credit card bills got too high. You're lying, my father said, but his voice shook. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Pulled up an email. Here's the trust documents. Filed 2.5 years ago. The house on Maple Street is owned by the trust. I'm the sole beneficiary. The deed you signed, the one with your name on it? That's for a completely different property. I showed him the screen. Watched his face go from pale to gray. The lot in Wyoming cost me $500 at a county tax auction. It's landlocked. No access. No utilities. Completely worthless. But it has one thing going for it. What? Monica's voice was barely a whisper. It has a massive property tax bill. About $30,000 a year. And as co-owner, Dad, you're legally responsible for half of that. My father grabbed the phone from my hand. Stared at the screen. This can't be real. Oh, it's very real. And here's the fun part. The buyer you found? The one who paid you $450,000 for my house? What about them? My father's hands were shaking now. They don't exist. I created a fake buyer. Through my lawyer. The money you received? That was my money. From my savings account. Transferred through a shell company. And now you've spent it all on Monica's debts. The silence was deafening. But the deed, my father stammered. I signed papers. I sold. You sold a worthless lot in Wyoming. And you committed fraud in the process. Because you signed papers saying you were selling 123 Maple Street. But you don't own 123 Maple Street. You never did. Monica sank into a chair. This isn't happening. Oh, it's happening. And here's where it gets even better. Remember those debts you paid off, Monica? The credit cards? The car loan? My sister nodded mutely. I've been documenting everything. Every purchase. Every trip. Every penny. And I've reported it all to the IRS. Because that money you received? That's a gift. A $450,000 gift. And you didn't declare it. You reported me to the IRS? Monica's voice was shrill. On Christmas? I reported you last week, actually. They'll probably contact you after New Year's. But yes, I suppose the timing is festive. My mother started crying. Sarah, how could you? How could I? I turned to her. Mom, they stole my house. Or tried to. How could they? We're family, she sobbed. No, I said quietly. Family doesn't do this. Family doesn't lie and cheat and steal. Family doesn't betray each other for money. I picked up my coat from the back of the couch. Started putting it on. Where are you going? My father demanded. Home. To my house. The one you don't own. The one you never owned. Sarah, wait. My mother grabbed my arm. Please. We can fix this. We can talk about it. There's nothing to fix, Mom. And nothing to talk about. You made your choice. All of you. But it's Christmas, she whispered. Yeah, I said. It is. I walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. Oh, one more thing. That property tax bill in Wyoming? It's due in 30 days. If you don't pay, they'll put a lien on all your assets. Including this house. My father's face went from gray to purple. You can't do this to us. I didn't do anything to you, Dad. You did it to yourself. When you decided to steal from your daughter to fund your favorite child's shopping addiction. I'm your father. You were my father, I corrected. Now you're just a man who taught me a very valuable lesson about trust. Monica stood up, her face twisted with rage. You think you're so smart. You think you've won. I don't think anything, Monica. I know. And yeah, I won. Because I'm not the one facing tax fraud charges. I'm not the one with a $30,000 tax bill due in 30 days. And I'm not the one who just realized they sold their soul for a Mercedes and a trip to Cabo. This isn't over, my sister hissed. Yes, it is. You see, I also filed a restraining order. Against both you and Dad. It goes into effect tomorrow. If you come near me, near my house, or try to contact me, you'll be arrested. My mother's sobs grew louder. You're tearing this family apart. No, Mom. They did that. I'm just walking away from the wreckage. I opened the door. Cold air rushed in, mixing with the warm smell of pine and cinnamon. Merry Christmas, I said. And I walked out. I sat in my car for a long time, hands gripping the steering wheel. I wasn't crying. I thought I would be, but I wasn't. I felt empty. Hollow. But also lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed. A text from my cousin Rachel, who'd left the party an hour earlier. What happened? Your mom is calling everyone, saying you've lost your mind. I smiled. Typed back, I found it, actually. Want to come to my house for hot chocolate? Be there in 20. I started the car and drove home. To my house. My real house. The one with the blue shutters and the garden I'd planted last spring. The one my father could never take from me. When I pulled into the driveway, I sat there for a moment, looking at the Christmas lights I'd hung last week. They twinkled in the darkness, cheerful and bright. And for the first time in 3 years, since the day I discovered my father's name on my deed, I felt peace. The doorbell rang 20 minutes later. I opened it to find Rachel holding a bottle of wine and a bag of cookies. I brought reinforcements, she said. Now tell me everything. So I did. We sat on my couch, the fake tree glowing in the corner, and I told her the whole story. From beginning to end. When I finished, Rachel stared at me in awe. You're either a genius or a supervillain. Can't I be both? She laughed. How long have you been planning this? 3 years. Since I found out what he did. I've been documenting everything. Setting up the trust. Creating the fake property sale. Waiting for the perfect moment. And tonight was the perfect moment? Christmas seemed appropriate. They wanted to ruin my holiday. I figured I'd return the favor. Rachel poured us both wine. What happens now? Now? I took a sip. Now they figure out how to pay a $30,000 property tax bill. They can sell something. Maybe Monica's car. Maybe their house. I don't really care. And the IRS thing? That's real. Monica received a large undeclared gift. She'll have to pay taxes on it. Or explain where the money went. Either way, it's her problem now. What about your mom? That question hit harder than I expected. I was quiet for a moment. My mom chose sides a long time ago, I finally said. She's always protected Monica. Always made excuses. She knew about the deed. She knew what Dad was planning. She could have warned me. But she didn't. No. She didn't. We sat in silence, sipping wine, watching the lights on the tree blink on and off. Do you think you'll ever forgive them? Rachel asked. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. Does it matter? I guess not. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my father. We need to talk. This has gone too far. I showed Rachel the text. She snorted. Too far? He sold your house and now it's too far? The audacity is impressive, I'll give him that. I blocked his number. Then Monica's. Then my mother's. What are you doing? Rachel asked. What I should have done years ago. Setting boundaries. 3 more texts came through from unknown numbers. Family members. Aunts and uncles. All of them saying the same thing, I was being unreasonable. I needed to fix this. Family is forever. I blocked them all. You know they're going to show up here, Rachel warned. Tomorrow. Maybe the next day. They're going to try to guilt you into fixing this. Let them try. I've got a restraining order and a camera doorbell. If they step on my property, I'll call the police. You've really thought of everything. I've had 3 years to plan this, Rachel. 3 years of watching Monica post photos of her luxury lifestyle while I work double shifts. 3 years of family dinners where Dad praised her entrepreneurial spirit while criticizing my boring career. 3 years of being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who always did the right thing. My voice cracked on the last word. And they repaid me by trying to steal my house. Rachel moved closer, put her arm around me. You did the right thing. Did I? Sometimes I feel like a monster. You're not a monster. You're someone who refused to be a victim. We stayed up until 3 in the morning, talking and laughing and eating cookies. Rachel crashed in my guest room, the one I carefully decorated with vintage furniture I'd restored myself. The room my father had told me was a waste of money. The house he tried to take from me. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, replaying the evening over and over. The look on my father's face when I told him about the Wyoming property. Monica's shock when I mentioned the IRS. My mother's tears. I should have felt guilty. I didn't. I felt free. Christmas morning arrived cold and bright. Rachel made pancakes while I checked my security camera footage. Sure enough, my father's car had driven by twice during the night. Slowing down. Watching. He's already starting, I said, showing Rachel the footage. What are you going to do? Nothing. Let him drive by. Let him wonder. Let him panic about that tax bill. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered on speaker. Sarah. My mother's voice, small and broken. Please. Your father is having chest pains. The stress is too much. Please, just talk to him. Put him on the phone, Mom. A pause. Then my father's voice, strained and angry. This is ridiculous. You need to fix this mess you created. I hung up. That was cold, Rachel observed. Was it? He sold my house 3 days before Christmas and expected me to just accept it. Now he wants me to fix his problems? Fair point. The phone rang again. I sent it to voicemail. It rang 5 more times that morning. 5 different family members. All with the same message, I was tearing the family apart. I needed to be the bigger person. I needed to forgive and forget. I deleted every voicemail without listening to the end. On December 26th, I got a certified letter. From my father's lawyer. Rachel read it over my shoulder. They're threatening to sue you for fraud. Let them. I've got 3 years of documentation. Every text. Every email. Every conversation I recorded. You recorded conversations? In my state, only one party needs to consent. I was that party. Remind me never to cross you. I smiled. Just don't try to steal my house and we'll be fine. The lawsuit never materialized. Because my lawyer sent them a letter outlining exactly what would happen if they pursued legal action. Every piece of fraud my father had committed would become public record. The deed forgery. The fake sale. The gift tax evasion. He dropped it within a week. But the calls didn't stop. Family members started showing up at my work. At the hospital. Cornering me in the parking lot. In the cafeteria. Always with the same message. Family is everything. I needed to forgive. I was being cruel. I transferred to a different hospital. Across town. Didn't tell anyone my new location. The calls slowed. Then stopped. January turned to February. Valentine's Day came and went. My phone stayed silent. Then, in March, I got a letter. Not certified. Just a regular envelope with my mother's handwriting. I almost threw it away. But something made me open it. Inside was a single page. Sarah, your father had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. He's asking for you. Please. I know you're angry. But please. Just come see him. He's your father. Whatever else happened, he's still your father. Mom. I stared at that letter for a long time. Rachel found me sitting at my kitchen table, the letter in my hand. What is it? I handed it to her. Watched her face as she read. What are you going to do? She asked quietly. I don't know. Do you want to go? No. Yes. I don't know. That's honest, at least. I thought about my father. About the man who taught me to ride a bike. Who came to every school play. Who stayed up late helping me study for my nursing exams. And then I thought about the man who stole my house. Who put his name on my deed without asking. Who chose Monica over me, again and again and again. If I go, I said slowly, it won't change anything. I won't fix this. I won't make it okay. Maybe he doesn't want you to fix it. Maybe he just wants to see you. Or maybe this is another manipulation. Another way to make me the bad guy. Rachel didn't answer. She didn't need to. I drove to the hospital that evening. Sat in the parking lot for 30 minutes before going inside. My mother was in the waiting room. She looked like she'd aged 10 years in 3 months. Sarah. She stood up, reached for me. I stepped back. Where is he? Room 412. But Sarah, before you go in. No. I cut her off. No more explanations. No more excuses. I'm here because you asked me to come. That's all. I walked past her. Took the elevator to the 4th floor. My father was awake when I entered his room. Pale. Thinner. Older. Sarah. His voice was weak. I stood at the foot of his bed. Didn't move closer. You wanted to see me. I'm here. I'm sorry. 2 words. Simple. Inadequate. What are you sorry for? I asked. He looked confused. For everything. Be specific, Dad. Are you sorry you tried to steal my house? Sorry you got caught? Sorry you're facing the consequences? I never meant to hurt you. But you did. You hurt me. And you did it deliberately. You planned it. You executed it. You stood in your living room and told me you sold my house, and you smiled while you did it. Monica needed help. Stop. I held up my hand. Don't make this about Monica. This is about you. About your choices. About what you decided was more important than your relationship with your daughter. He was crying now. Tears running down his face. I didn't think you'd find out. I thought. You thought I was stupid. You thought I was too trusting. Too busy. Too distracted by my career to notice. No. Yes. That's exactly what you thought. And you know what? You were almost right. If Rachel hadn't warned me about Monica going through my office, I never would have known. I would have trusted you. And you would have taken everything from me. My father looked away. What do you want me to say? Nothing. There's nothing to say. You made your choice. Now you get to live with it. Sarah, please. I'm your father. No, I said quietly. You're not. A father protects his children. All of them. Not just the favorite. I turned to leave. The property tax bill, he said suddenly. It's bankrupting us. We're going to lose the house. I stopped. Didn't turn around. We need help, Sarah. Please. Your mother and I will lose everything. Then sell something. Downsize. Get a job. Do what everyone else does when they have financial problems. But we're family. No, we're not. Not anymore. You sold that along with my house. I walked out. Didn't look back. My mother caught up with me in the parking lot. Sarah, wait. I kept walking. Please. Just listen. We made a mistake, but we're still your parents. I stopped. Turned. Do you know what hurts the most, Mom? It's not what Dad did. It's that you let him. You knew it was wrong. You knew it would destroy our relationship. And you stayed silent. You chose Monica. Again. I didn't choose. Yes. You did. You always have. Every time Monica messed up, you made excuses. Every time she needed money, you found it. Every time I needed support, you told me to be more understanding. To be less sensitive. To think of the family. I was trying to keep the peace. You were enabling a narcissist and a thief. And now you're surprised that there's a price to pay. What do you want from us? My mother's voice broke. What do we have to do to fix this? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. You can't unring this bell. You can't unbetray me. You can't give me back the last 3 years of pretending everything was fine while planning this whole thing. So that's it? We're just dead to you? No. You're just not family anymore. You're strangers who happen to share my DNA. I got in my car. Drove away. Left my mother standing in the parking lot, crying. And I still didn't feel guilty. Is that wrong? Is there something broken inside me that I can't forgive them? Maybe. But maybe not. Maybe I'm just someone who finally learned to protect herself. The property tax bill came due in April. My father couldn't pay it. The county put a lien on their house. They sold it in June. Moved into a small apartment across town. Monica lost her car. Then her apartment. Moved back in with them. The IRS settlement took most of what they had left. I know all this because Rachel keeps me updated. She still talks to various family members who think she can convince me to help. She can't. Every few months, someone reaches out. An aunt. A cousin. Sometimes even Monica, from a new number I haven't blocked yet. The message is always the same: enough time has passed. I should forgive. I should move on. I should help my family in their time of need. I never respond. Because here's what I learned that Christmas Eve: family isn't about blood. It's about respect. And trust. And love that goes both ways. My family stopped being my family the moment they decided my house was worth less than Monica's credit card bills. I have a new family now. Rachel. My co-workers at the hospital. My neighbors. People who would never dream of stealing from me. People who celebrate my success instead of resenting it. People who understand that love isn't a transaction. I still live in my house. The one with the blue shutters and the garden that's bigger now. More flowers. More vegetables. More life. Every Christmas, I put up lights. Not for anyone else. Just for me. And every Christmas Eve, I make hot chocolate and sit by my tree and think about that night. The night I chose myself. The night I stopped being a victim. The night I learned that sometimes, the best gift you can give yourself is freedom. Last week, I got another letter from my mother. She's sick now. Cancer. She wants to see me before she dies. I haven't opened it yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But if I do go, it won't be to forgive. It won't be to reconcile. It won't be to make peace. It will be to say goodbye to the people they used to be. To mourn the family that could have been. To finally close a door that's been open too long. And then I'll come home. To my house. My real home. The one I built with my own hands and my own money and my own heart. The one they can never take from me. Because I learned something important that Christmas: you can't steal from someone who's already protected what matters most. And what mattered most was never the house. It was my self-respect. My boundaries. My refusal to be anyone's backup plan. People ask me sometimes if I have regrets. If I wish I'd handled things differently. The answer is no. Not for a single second. Because I sleep well at night. I walk through my home without fear. I live my life without looking over my shoulder. And my father, my mother, my sister? They're still dealing with the consequences of their choices. Still struggling to pay bills. Still wondering how it all went so wrong. Still waiting for me to save them. I won't. Not because I'm cruel. Not because I'm heartless. But because I finally learned to value myself as much as they valued Monica. And that makes all the difference. So if you're reading this, if you're listening to this story and thinking about your own family, your own struggles, your own betrayals, remember this. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your safety. You don't owe anyone forgiveness they haven't earned. And you absolutely don't owe anyone access to your life just because they share your last name. Family is a privilege. Not a right. They lost that privilege the moment they decided I was worth less than my sister's shopping addiction. And I gained my life back the moment I accepted that truth. It's been 2 years now since that Christmas. 2 years of therapy. Of healing. Of building real relationships with people who actually care about me. 2 years of freedom. And I wouldn't change a thing. Not one single thing. Because I finally learned what they should have taught me from the beginning. The most important person you need to protect is yourself. Everything else is just noise. And I'm done listening. But life has a funny way of testing you just when you think you've closed a chapter. 3 months ago, something happened that I didn't expect. I was at the grocery store. Just a normal Saturday morning. Coffee in hand, list on my phone, wearing sweatpants because I'd finally learned that self-care means not dressing up for errands. I turned down the produce aisle and froze. Monica was there. She looked different. Thinner. Older. Her hair wasn't professionally highlighted anymore. She wore jeans with a hole in the knee, not the designer kind, the actual worn-through kind. She was holding a bundle of marked-down bananas, checking the price sticker like it mattered. Our eyes met. For a second, neither of us moved. The world narrowed to just that moment. That aisle. That impossible coincidence. She looked like she might cry. Or run. Or both. I grabbed my avocados and walked past her without a word. Sarah. Her voice cracked on my name. I kept walking. Please. Just 30 seconds. Something in her tone made me stop. Not forgiveness. Not sympathy. Just curiosity. The same curiosity that makes you slow down when you pass a car accident. I turned around. Kept my distance. What? Monica clutched those marked-down bananas like they were a lifeline. You look good. I am good. I heard you got promoted. Head nurse now. Who told you that? Rachel's mom mentioned it to Aunt Patricia. Who told Mom? Who told me? The family grapevine. Still alive and well, apparently. Congratulations, Monica said, and she actually sounded like she meant it. Thanks. Silence stretched between us. Awkward and heavy. I'm working at Target now, she said suddenly. Overnight stocking. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I didn't respond. Didn't know what to say. Dad had another heart attack. 2 months ago. He's stable now, but... She trailed off. Mom's cancer is stage 4. They're saying months, not years. My stomach clenched. I hated that it did. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty, Monica continued quickly. I know you don't owe us anything. I know what we did was unforgivable. I thought you should know. Why? Because you're still my sister. Even if you hate me. Even if you never want to see me again. You're still my sister, and you deserve to know what's happening. I stopped being your sister when you helped Dad steal my house. Monica flinched like I'd slapped her. I know. I know what I did. What we did. And I'm not asking for forgiveness because I don't deserve it. Then what do you want? Nothing. She looked down at those bananas. I just wanted to tell you that you were right. About everything. I was spoiled. I was entitled. I thought the world owed me something just because I existed. She laughed, but it was bitter. Broken. Turns out the world doesn't care. Nobody cares about Instagram followers when you can't pay rent. Nobody cares about your influencer dreams when the electricity gets shut off. Monica. I lost everything, Sarah. The car. The apartment. My friends. Turns out they were only my friends when I was buying drinks and dinner. When I needed help, they all disappeared. She finally looked up at me. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Exhausted. I'm living with Mom and Dad in their one-bedroom apartment. Sleeping on a pull-out couch that's older than I am. Working nights and weekends to help pay for Mom's medications. I'm sorry, I said, and surprisingly, I meant it. Don't be. This is what I deserve. What we deserve. We tried to destroy you, and karma came back around. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I just wanted you to know that I finally get it. I finally understand what it's like to work for something. To struggle. To be afraid. That doesn't change what happened. I know. But maybe it means I'm finally growing up. A woman with a shopping cart tried to get past us. We both moved to the side, and the moment felt broken somehow. Less intense. I should go, Monica said. I'm glad you're doing well. You deserve it. You always did. She turned to leave, and I found myself saying, Monica, wait. She stopped. Turned back. Hope flickered across her face, and I hated that I had to crush it. I'm not ready to forgive you. I might never be. But I'm glad you're figuring your life out. Genuinely. Monica nodded slowly. That's more than I expected. Thank you. She walked away, and I stood there in the produce section, feeling like I just survived an earthquake. My hands were shaking when I texted Rachel, just ran into Monica at the store. Need wine and a long conversation. She replied immediately, on my way to your place. Bringing cheese too. That night, Rachel and I dissected the entire encounter. Every word. Every expression. Every possible meaning. Do you think she's changed? Rachel asked. I don't know. Maybe. People can change, right? Sure. But can you forgive her? That was the question, wasn't it? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to believe she's genuinely different. But another part remembers standing in that living room, watching her smile while Dad told me he sold my house. Both things can be true, Rachel said. She can be genuinely sorry now and still have been genuinely awful then. So what do I do? What do you want to do? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Nothing, I finally said. I don't want to punish her anymore. But I also don't want her in my life. That's fair. Is it, though? She's living with dying parents, working overnight at Target, struggling to survive. And I'm here in my beautiful house, with my great job, living my best life. Sarah. Rachel grabbed my shoulders. You're not responsible for her situation. You didn't create it. She did. They all did. I know. But it still feels weird. Weird isn't wrong. Weird is just complicated. 6 weeks later, my mother died. I found out through a text from a cousin I barely knew. Aunt Margaret passed this morning. Funeral is Friday at St. Michael's. Hope you can make it. I stared at that text for an hour. My mother was dead. The woman who gave birth to me. Who braided my hair for school. Who taught me how to make lasagna and fold fitted sheets and stand up for myself. Ironically, the lesson she forgot when it mattered most. She was gone. And I felt numb. Rachel found me sitting on my back porch, staring at nothing. What's wrong? I showed her the text. Oh, Sarah. She sat down next to me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to feel. You don't have to know. You're allowed to feel everything and nothing all at once. Should I go to the funeral? Do you want to? No. Yes. I don't know. I put my head in my hands. She betrayed me, Rachel. She chose Monica over me again and again. She let Dad steal my house. She never once stood up for me. But she was still your mom. Was she, though? Because a real mother wouldn't have done what she did. Rachel was quiet for a long time. Then she said, you know what I think? I think you should go. Not for her. Not for them. But for you. What do you mean? I think you need closure. Real closure. Not the kind you get from just walking away. The kind you get from saying goodbye. I thought about that. About closure. About finality. About the chance to actually say goodbye to the mother I'd lost long before cancer took her. Will you come with me? I asked. Of course. The funeral was small. Maybe 30 people. Family members I recognized but hadn't spoken to in 2 years. Some of my mother's friends from church. A few neighbors. My father sat in the front row, looking like he'd aged 20 years. Monica sat next to him, holding his hand. I stayed in the back. Rachel beside me. The service was standard. A priest who clearly hadn't known my mother well reading generic prayers. A eulogy from my aunt that hit all the expected notes: loving mother, devoted wife, kind neighbor, faithful friend. No one mentioned that she'd enabled her husband to commit fraud. That she'd chosen her favorite daughter over her responsible one. That she destroyed her family for the sake of keeping the peace. Funerals are like that, I guess. All the rough edges smoothed away. All the complicated truths buried with the body. When it ended, people filed out to their cars. The burial would be private. Family only. I was about to leave when my father appeared in front of me. Sarah. His voice was hoarse. Broken. You came. I did. Your mother would have been happy. Would she? He flinched. She loved you. Even if you don't believe it. She loved you. She had a funny way of showing it. She was trying to keep the family together. That's all she ever wanted. She destroyed the family, Dad. You both did. People were staring now. Whispering. But I didn't care. We made mistakes, my father said. But we were still your parents. No. You were people who raised me. There's a difference. Monica approached, her expression cautious. Dad, maybe we should stay out of this, I told her. Sarah, please. Not here. Not today. Why not today? You picked Christmas to destroy my life. Why can't I pick Mom's funeral to speak the truth? My father's face crumpled. Is that really what you think? That we destroyed your life? You tried to. You failed. But yes, that's exactly what you did. We needed help. And I needed a family who didn't steal from me. My voice echoed in the empty church. I needed parents who protected me instead of betraying me. I needed a sister who was my ally, not my competition. Tears streamed down my father's face. I'm sorry. God, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I know you are. Now. When you've lost everything. When Mom is dead and Monica is working overnight shifts and you're facing bankruptcy. Now you're sorry. What do you want from me? He asked. What do I have to do? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. The time for fixing this was 2 years ago. Or 3 years before that, when you forged my deed. Or 10 years before that, when you started treating Monica like a princess and me like an ATM. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Dad. You taught me that. Remember? When you stood in your living room and told me you sold my house, you said I'd figure it out. That I was resourceful. I stepped closer to him. Close enough to see the broken blood vessels in his eyes. The gray in his hair. The defeat in his posture. Well, I figured it out. I figured out that family is supposed to build you up, not tear you down. That love is supposed to be unconditional, not transactional. That parents are supposed to sacrifice for their children, not sacrifice their children for each other. Sarah, Monica started. I'm talking to Dad. I didn't take my eyes off him. I came here today because I needed to say goodbye. Not to Mom's body. But to the idea of you. The idea that someday we'd fix this. That someday you'd really understand what you did to me. I do understand. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be asking what you have to do to fix it. You'd know there's nothing to fix. It's broken. Permanently. Completely. My father collapsed into a pew, sobbing. Monica knelt beside him, her own tears falling freely. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. No relief. Just emptiness. Rachel touched my arm gently. Ready to go? I nodded. We walked out of that church into bright sunshine. The kind of day that feels too cheerful for grief. That was intense, Rachel said as we reached the car. Yeah. How do you feel? Honestly? I feel done. Like I just closed a book I've been reading for 2 years. It didn't have a happy ending, but at least it's over. Is it, though? I thought about that. About my father's tears. Monica's guilt. My mother's grave. Yeah, I said finally. It is. They can't hurt me anymore. They have no power over me. No claim on my life. No ability to make me feel like I'm not enough. So what now? Now I go home. To my house. My life. My peace. And that's exactly what I did. I drove home, walked through my front door, and stood in my living room, the one I'd painted myself, filled with furniture I'd chosen, decorated with memories I'd created, and I breathed. Really breathed. For the first time in years, I felt light. The weight of expectation. Of obligation. Of guilt. All of it lifted. I was free. That night, I did something I hadn't done since I was a child. I called in sick to work. I never called in sick, and I spent the entire day doing absolutely nothing. I read a book. Took a bath. Made myself a fancy dinner. Watched a movie. Went to bed early. And I didn't think about them once. Not about my father crying in that church pew. Not about Monica's overnight shifts. Not about my mother's grave. I thought about me. About the life I built. The boundaries I'd set. The person I'd become. And I was proud. The weeks that followed were quiet. No more texts from unknown numbers. No more family members showing up at my work. No more letters begging for forgiveness. They'd finally gotten the message. I was done. But here's what's interesting, I started sleeping better. The nightmares stopped. The anxiety that used to spike every time my phone rang faded away. I'd been carrying their guilt and shame for 2 years without realizing it. Always wondering if I'd been too harsh. Too cruel. Too unforgiving. But standing in that church, seeing my father's face, hearing Monica's apologies, it crystallized something for me. I hadn't been cruel. I'd been necessary. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away from people who hurt you. Even if they're family. Especially if they're family. Because family is supposed to be your safe place. Your refuge. Your unconditional support system. And when they become your source of pain instead, you have every right to protect yourself. 3 months after the funeral, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Just my name and address in handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside was a photo album. Old photos. From childhood. Me and Monica building sandcastles. Me and my parents at my high school graduation. Family Christmases before everything fell apart. There was a note tucked in the front. Sarah, I found this in Mom's things. She looked through it every day after you left. I thought you might want it. I'm not asking for anything. I just thought you should have these memories. They were good ones. Before we ruined everything. Monica. I sat on my couch, holding that album, and for the first time since Christmas 2 years ago, I cried. Not for what was, but for what could have been. For the family we might have been if choices had been different. If priorities had been different. If love had been unconditional instead of transactional. Rachel found me there an hour later, tears streaming down my face, surrounded by photos of a family that no longer existed. What happened? She asked, alarmed. I showed her the album. The note. Do you want to respond? She asked carefully. No. I don't think I do. Why not? Because this doesn't change anything. It's sweet. It's thoughtful. But it doesn't change the fact that they tried to steal my house. That they chose money over me. That they destroyed our family. But doesn't it mean Monica's really changed? Maybe. Probably. But that's her journey, not mine. I'm allowed to acknowledge that she's growing as a person and still not want her in my life. Rachel nodded slowly. You know what? You're absolutely right. I put the album on a shelf in my guest room. Not hidden. But not displayed either. A reminder that people are complicated. That hurt and love can exist in the same space. That you can miss who someone was without wanting who they are now. 6 months later, I met someone. His name was Daniel. He was an ER doctor at my hospital. Kind eyes. Terrible jokes. A laugh that made me feel safe. On our third date, he asked about my family. I told him the truth. All of it. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. That's intense, he finally said. Yeah. Does it scare you off? Are you kidding? You protected yourself. You set boundaries. You refused to be a victim. That's not scary. That's incredible. I felt something crack open inside my chest. Something warm and hopeful and terrifying. Most people think I'm heartless, I admitted. Most people have never had their family steal from them. Most people don't understand what it's like to choose yourself when everyone expects you to be a martyr. You get it. I do. My parents were addicts. I cut them off when I was 25. Haven't spoken to them in 8 years. People act like I'm a monster, but the truth is, I'm just someone who decided to stop drowning trying to save people who wouldn't grab the life preserver. I reached across the table and took his hand. Thank you, I whispered. For what? For understanding. He smiled. Thank you for letting me in. A year later, Daniel proposed. We got married in my backyard. The one I'd cultivated and grown and nurtured. Small ceremony. Just Rachel, some friends from work, Daniel's brother. No parents. No siblings. No extended family. Just people who loved us. People who supported us. People who would never dream of betraying us for money or convenience. And it was perfect. On our wedding night, as we slow danced in our living room, Daniel pulled me close and whispered, "Are you happy?" I thought about everything. About Christmas 2 years ago. About my father's betrayal. About Monica's transformation. About my mother's funeral. About the family I'd lost and the life I'd gained. Yes, I said. I really am. No regrets? Not a single one. And I meant it. Because here's what I finally understood, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love people who don't love you back. You can't sacrifice yourself on the altar of family obligation and expect to survive intact. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes the rightest thing you can do is say no. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building a life so beautiful, so peaceful, so completely yours that the betrayal becomes nothing more than a bad memory from someone else's story. I still live in my house. The one with the blue shutters and the garden that gets bigger every year. Daniel loves it here. He planted tomatoes last spring. Built a fire pit in the backyard. Adopted a dog named Murphy who thinks he owns the place. We're talking about kids. Maybe next year. Maybe the year after. And when we have them, I'll teach them what my parents never taught me, that love is a verb, not a noun. That family is built through actions, not accidents of biology. That respect is earned, not demanded. I'll teach them to protect themselves. To set boundaries. To walk away from people who hurt them, even if those people are family. And I'll teach them that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. Last week, I got another letter. From my father. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won out. Sarah, I know I have no right to contact you. I know you've moved on and built a beautiful life without us. I know I destroyed any chance of being part of that life. But I need you to know something. I was wrong. Not just about the house. About everything. I was a terrible father to you. I was selfish and cruel and blind. I treated you like you were less important than Monica, and I can never take that back. I can never make it right. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I see it now. I understand what I did. And I'm sorry. Not because I want something from you. But because you deserve to hear it. You deserved to hear it years ago. I love you, Sarah. I always have. I just did a terrible job of showing it. Be happy. Be free. Be everything we never let you be. Dad. I read that letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and went about my day. Because here's the truth, his apology doesn't change anything. It doesn't undo the hurt. It doesn't rebuild the trust. It doesn't repair the relationship. But it does give me closure. Real closure. The kind that comes from knowing they finally understand what they did. That they see it. That they carry it. I'm not responsible for their guilt. I'm not obligated to absolve them. I'm not required to make them feel better about their choices. I'm only responsible for myself. For my happiness. My peace. My boundaries. And I protect those fiercely now. So if you're reading this, if you're listening to this story, if you're facing your own family betrayal, your own painful choice, your own impossible situation, remember this. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to choose yourself. Even if everyone else thinks you're wrong. Even if your family calls you heartless. Even if society says you should forgive and forget and move on. You are allowed to protect your peace at all costs. Because at the end of the day, the only person you're guaranteed to spend your entire life with is yourself. Make sure that relationship is a good one. Make sure you're proud of the choices you make. Make sure you can sleep at night knowing you honored your boundaries and valued your worth. Everything else is just noise. And I'm finally free of it. My name is Sarah. I'm 35 years old. I'm a head nurse at a major hospital. I'm married to an incredible man. I live in a beautiful house that no one can take from me. And I got here by doing the one thing everyone told me not to do. I chose myself. Best decision I ever made.